welcome to the Diversion Authority Finance Committee meeting, June 26, 2024. I'll call the meeting to order. Don, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Durdes.
Here.
Mayor Mahoney. Here. Mayor Carlson.
Here.
Mr. Steen.
Here.
Ms. Thompson.
Here.
Ms. Johnson. Mr. Redlinger.
Here.
Mr. Grimberg.
Here.
Mr. Pepcorn. Mr. Peterson.
I'm here.
Mr. Reeds. Ms. Madriga. Quorum is present.
Thank you, Don. Item number 2 is to approve the minutes of May 22nd, 2024. They are in the attachment and they have been distributed.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Mayor Carlson. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Commissioner, seconds. Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of May 22nd. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Moving on to item number 3 is to approve the order of the agenda. We have had a
Mr. Chairman, I've moved to approve with the exception of removing 7C from today's agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Grinberg. Is there a second?
Second.
Move to approve the agenda with the removal of item 7C. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Item number 4 is the approval of the bills that we call on Susan Thompson.
The bills to be approved for the month of June are listed on page 6. There's a total of about a dozen, and the total dollar amount is $3,757,532.04. It's basically the same types of expenses we typically pay. Anyone have any questions?
Any questions? Mrs. Thompson? Nothing? This is an actionable item. A motion to approve the bill.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Mayor. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner. Been moved and seconded to approve the bills as presented by Susan Thompson for the amount of $3,757,532.04. Don, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Durdes.
Yes.
Mayor Mahoney.
Aye.
Mayor Carlson.
Yes.
Mr. Steen.
Yes.
Ms. Thompson.
Yes.
Mr. Edlinger.
Yes.
Mr. Redlinger.
Yes.
Mr. Grimberg.
Aye.
Mr. Pepcorn.
Aye.
Mr. Peterson.
Yes.
Everyone.
Thank you, Don. Next order of business is item number 5, which is finance report. Again, we call on Susan Thompson.
The year-to-date and historic revenues and expenditure report is on page 25, and then on page 26 is the statement of net position. As of May 31st, there are total assets, including the budget fund, of $268,465,725. And then there's also a small bit of liabilities, $162,000. So the net position at the end of the month is $268,302,987.
Any questions? Any questions by anyone? Could I have a motion to approve the finance report, please?
I so move.
Commissioner
Second.
Pipcorn moves. Is there a second?
Second.
Mayor Mahoney seconds. Been moved and seconded to approve the finance report as presented by Susan Thompson for a net position of $268,302,987. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 6 is a cash budget report. We call on Paul. It has been distributed, is on the attachments, is on page 49 of the packet.
Thank you, Chairman and members of the committee. Again, glad to be in front of you and reporting that there's nothing out of the ordinary in our cash budget. Again, for this month, you will see an additional legacy fund draws that were added to this month. And so we're up to about $30 million of the North Dakota legacy fund draws. Beyond that, there's just the standard sales tax and additions that way. On to the next page, you see the level 1 overview. Again, nothing out of the ordinary. This is through the end of May, and so we're actually tracking right on budget, if maybe just slightly ahead with the lands and impacted property mitigation, noticing that we've spent about $30 million to date through the end of May of our $64 million budget on there. Other things to note, we are starting to see some more of the third-party mitigation. They haven't showed up in this month's report, but you will start to see some more of those, of that $32 million that's been budgeted for that. We still have about 29.7 left, and so you'll see more upcoming in the next couple of months here. Level 2, I can go into that if folks have some questions, want to get into more of the detail, but nothing out of the ordinary. As we are working through the lands process and the eminent domain process, those costs are coming in. And then also the oversight of the P3 with the administration of that, those costs are coming in. Aside from that, then our last page is the salary and benefits from the operations budget, and those are actually doing quite well, running a little bit behind the budgeted limits there. So, any questions?
Questions, Mr. Mayor Mahoney?
Paul, I don't expect an answer today, but I was just curious. The other day we asked, Mayor Carlson asked for how far are we done with the project, 42% or 47%. It was an interesting number. And I'm just curious, how much, quote, money have we spent? So I know year to date and everything like that, we're on task, but I'd be curious with the core and with the P3 project and in-town projects, exactly how much, quote, money have we totally spent? So $2.75 billion project, how many millions have we spent so far?
So you'll see on the level 1 summary there that to date the authority itself, and that includes reimbursements to Cass County Joint for lands, that includes reimbursements to the city for the works that they have done.
So we've spent $1 billion, but we're 42%, or was it 42, Shelley?
Yeah, it was about 42, 43%.
42%, okay. I mean, for the public to know that we're spending the money as we kind of said we would, and we're staying within budget. Thank you.
Yeah. This does not include the core section of it, so that's one reason why it doesn't add up to the total number, but the core reports their financials out separately.
Any additional questions?
Mr. Chair.
Please,
Hey,
Mr. Steen.
just a question on a couple of line items, Paul, on page 52. Here's a couple items. WP-50 Phase 2 demo, nothing budgeted. We spent about $193,000. Then right below that, there's another one, mitigation and association infrastructure. We're about $350 some odd thousand over budget on that. Just if you wouldn't mind commenting on that.
Can you go to the next page, Peggy? I think, no? Make sure I'm looking at the right.
With that right there, B1.
Yeah, the 52 Phase 2 demo, work package 50, that was a cleanup at the end of the year. And so that project was a carryover that we had anticipated would be closed by the end of the year, and it didn't. Okay. And so that's what that overrun is for there. And I'm sorry, you said the other one was?
Right where she's got her.
The upstream staging?
No, the mitigation and association infrastructure, right above that line.
Yeah.
Paul.
Oh, that were over there. Those are some of the. That one I'm going to have to look into again on that one. I believe that is just some of the work that we're doing with the cemeteries and some of the work that we're doing along those lines. But let me check on that for you.
And then just one other line item on page 54, that level 2 detail. You've got, I think it is the channel utility relocation, other mitigation, $850,000. Just curious about that.
That is some of the work that we've done under the channel finalizing out some work with the gas companies that we're crossing. Again, that's a matter of timing. We had it budgeted last year. We thought we would have it closed out by the end of the last year, and it just came in early this year. So that's the new star closeouts and things that way.
So I'm assuming by the time we've approved the budget and the time you end of the year, it's enough gap there, you don't really know for sure, so.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
This is an informational only item. We'll move on to item number 7, MOUs and agreements. We'll call on Mr. Shockley. We have items A, B, and if you remind you that item C was removed at the beginning of the meeting, so we have 4 of them. Mr. Shockley?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The first item is a relatively simple amendment with Minnesota Power Cooperative. This is changing the definition of approved subcontractors to add in additional, to include the definition of approved subcontractors, which would include Key Contracting, and then Brink Constructors, Inc., and MJ Electric.
Is there a second? We have a motion and a second. This is a roll call vote, so we're going to go through all of them. Don, please call the roll for item A, Minnesota Power Co-op, MFDA, and the MOUs and agreements.
Mayor Dardis.
Yes.
Mayor Mahoney.
Aye.
Mayor Carlson.
Yes.
Mr. Steen.
Yes.
Ms. Thompson.
Yes.
Mr. Emminger.
Yes.
Mr. Redlinger.
Yes.
Mr. Grimberg.
Aye.
Mr. Pepcorn. Mr. Peterson.
Yes.
That is everyone.
Thank you, Don. Please continue.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The second item for the Finance Committee's consideration today is the Raymond Township and MFDA MOU. The Finance Committee may recall that you previously approved this. However, Raymond Township ultimately took a little bit longer to approve it and requested an additional gravel road mobility improvement to offset project impacts. After reviewing what they were proposing for a change due to the additional cost, my recommendation was to bring it forward for reapproval through the process. So it's still the same agreement with the addition of the gravel road mobility improvement, which was due to additional traffic from the P3 contractor.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Mayor Mahoney. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Thompson seconds. We have a motion and a second to approve the Raymond Township and Metro Flood Diversion Authority MOU. Is there any further discussion? Don, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Dardis.
Yes.
Mayor Mahoney.
Aye.
Mayor Carlson.
Yes.
Mr. Steen.
Yes.
Ms. Thompson.
Yes.
Mr. Emminger.
Yes.
Mr. Redlinger.
Yes.
Mr. Grimberg.
Aye.
Mr. Pepcorn.
Aye.
Mr. Peterson.
Yes.
That is everyone.
Thank you, Don. We're on item D now on 7. Mr. Shockley?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The next item is an MOU with, or a MURA with Southeast Water Users District. This is a water district that is down in Richland County. It provides rural water to rural residents. It has lines that run through different zones within the UMA. There are a few lines that are impacted by the project that during project operations, they would not be able to provide access to those lines. In reviewing the easements that they had associated with these lines, it specifically provided that use of water or reservoirs, such as our dry reservoir, is a potential impact to their easement. And therefore, to secure the appropriate property rights as part of the UMA property acquisition, we needed to enter into an agreement with them to provide for relocating lines and coordinating operations and maintenance events regarding project operations. So it's a standard MURA, and there will be task orders that would be completed afterwards. Happy to answer any questions. It's a little bit different than probably what you're used to dealing with, but that's because of the success of the lands team. We're getting into acquiring flowage easements in the Wilkin County area, and as a result, there are some utilities that the board may not be as familiar with, such as Southeast Water Users District.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Mayor Mahoney. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Commissioner Grinberg seconds. Been moved and seconded to approve 7D. Is there any further discussion? Don, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Dardis.
Yes.
Mayor Mahoney.
Yes.
Mayor Carlson.
Yes.
Mr. Steen.
Yes.
Ms. Thompson.
Yes.
Mr. Ebinger.
Yes.
Mr. Redlinger.
Yes.
Mr. Grimberg.
Aye.
Mr. Pepcorn.
Aye.
Mr. Peterson.
Yes.
And that is everyone.
Thank you, Don. We're now on 7E. Again, Mr. Shockley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The board may recall this item being in the newspaper recently. It's regarding relocation of a historic log cabin in the upstream area. As part of North Dakota SHPO requirements, the log cabin has some historical significance. The Corps of Engineers, working with North Dakota SHPO, along with the Rolog Steam Threshers Reunion, has made arrangements to relocate the log cabin to their site over in Rolog. This is a memorandum of agreement that the Corps of Engineers had asked the authority to sign off on because it did involve property mitigation and relocation. Happy to answer any questions, but it's an interesting agreement. Don't normally relocate log cabins, but as part of this project, we are.
Questions for Mr. Shockley?
Move to approve.
Thank you, Mayor. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Mayor. It's been moved and seconded to approve item 7E. Is there any discussion? Mayor Mahoney.
Well, Mr. Shockley, what's the cost of that?
I'm going to have to defer to Chris. I'm not 100% sure on what the cost for
That could be very
relocating the
much,
log
right?
cabin will be.
Corps is handling the mitigation pieces of that, so I don't have a cost estimate from them on exactly what the move is.
Just curious, Chris. Thank you.
Any additional questions? Or discussion, excuse me. We have a motion and a second for item 7E. Don, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Dardis.
Yes.
Mayor Mahoney.
Aye.
Mayor Carlson.
Yes.
Mr. Steen.
Yes.
Ms. Thompson.
Yes.
Mr. Ebinger.
Yes.
Mr. Redlinger.
Yes.
Mr. Grimberg.
Aye.
Mr. Pepcorn.
Aye.
Mr. Peterson.
Yes.
That is it.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you.
Moving on, we are now on item 8, Diversion Authority Board Approval of Contracting Actions. Again, we call on Mr. Paul Barthol. It's on page 233 in your packet.
Thank you, Chairman and members. Before you is a new agreement. This is a totally new agreement, but it's with a company that we have worked with before. C3 Media is the company that does all of our drone videos and drone flights that are used at the board meetings and also on our website. This is for production, for utilizing the drones, the videography, and the production and post-production work. C3 Media also does some of the interviews and the work that comes out. Help me, Amy, I'm drawing a blank with the newsletter. Yeah, I was trying to do the specific name of the newsletter, but it comes out with videos highlighting various personnel on the project, and they do a lot of that work too. So one other thing that's included in here is an annual subscription for keeping the cameras. We've placed 2 long-term cameras, one out at the Maple River Aqueduct and one at the I-29 site. So there is a subscription to continue to store and utilize those cameras throughout the year.
Mayor Mahoney, question.
What was it charged last year?
It was about $135,000, so it's a little bit more, but we only had that subscription for about half a year, and due to the popularity of the videos, we want to kind of continue to grow that aspect of the project.
And do we have cameras on the inlet? I was curious about security. Do we have cameras 24/7 on the inlet?
The Corps has some cameras there. They are basically localized, so in order to see those, we'd have to have someone on site. So we're working with them to help with the security at that location.
Thank you.
Currently, the site itself is still under the Corps' control, since our contractor is still out there, so security has fallen on them. But that's what some of the discussions that we're having with the Corps.
Commissioner Grinberg.
Thank you. Paul, is this a monthly effort with video and interviews and largely our website and communications
Yes.
tools?
Yes.
Has there been any discussion to move this to a quarterly effort? I'm curious.
As in a quarterly
Well,
update?
break the
on-
cost down by 4 times versus 12 months.
Okay.
And reduce the costs and still get the same effect, but less often.
Okay, so you're looking like aerial videos and drone footage on a quarterly basis rather than on a monthly basis?
Yeah,
if
just
I'm
curious
understanding?
question if that's been ever talked about rather than.
I don't
This is
think we have.
Same old.
This kind of falls under the public outreach. I'll let you kind of handle that.
Hello, Commissioner, members of the committee. We haven't discussed that. Part of it is too why we continue to do this monthly is we're looking ahead toward the end of the project and being able to have all the footage that documents this historic project that we're doing for the area. Especially right now with things changing so quickly in the construction realm and kind of keeping up with all that's going on. We have been continuing that monthly. As things start to slow down, we get closer to operations and maintenance. I see it being less time for sure. And one more thing I wanted to add is I believe this also includes the cost for a third time-lapse camera. Is that right? Yes. So it's also for additional equipment that we'll be using at another site to be able to show what's happening there and use that footage.
Thank you, Amy. Any additional questions of Paul or Amy?
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Commissioner Eppinger seconds. Been moved and seconded to approve item 8A. Is there any further discussion? Don, would you please call a roll?
Mayor Dardis.
Yes.
Mayor Mahoney.
Aye.
Mayor Carlson.
Yes.
Mr. Steen.
Yes.
Ms. Thompson.
Yes.
Mr. Ebinger.
Yes.
Mr. Redlinger.
Yes.
Mr. Grimberg.
No.
Mr. Pepcorn.
Aye.
Mr. Peterson.
Yes.
That is everyone.
Thank you. Motion passes. Item 9, other business. We have the Metro Flood Diversion Authority audit report. Susan Thompson has been involved in this, but we also have with us today Wyatt Poppenfuss, City of Fargo Accounting Manager, and he's at the podium. Welcome.
Hello, thank you. So I was just going to take a few minutes to talk about the audit results from 2023. We issued our report on June 6th. This process started between the city staff as a fiscal agent along with the Jacobs team in late fall of 2022, fall of 2023, excuse me. There's a new accounting standard related to P3 arrangements, which, as we know, this is inherently that kind of project. So we worked with Ide Bailey to do a review of the master indenture of trust and the program payments to the developers and such to make sure that we were accurately presenting this liability and asset in our financial statements. As you know, the Joint Water Resource District holds all of the land, but the Diversion Authority doesn't. So when looking at our monthly financials under assets, all you'll see is cash, investments, and prepaids, whereas we're making improvements to property that the authority doesn't truly have ownership on. So we just wanted to make sure that for the stakeholders internally and externally, that everything was presented accurately. So this spring we got a report from them essentially saying that we wouldn't have to recognize the CIP asset being the diversion channel on the authority's books until we make our first milestone payments, which have not taken place yet. The audit fieldwork began in April and May. There was staff on site and it was mainly done remotely. There was a lot of support from the Jacobs team as well as the city staff, so we're thankful for that. On the next slide, just kind of to reiterate the objectives of the audit, this is mainly looking to ensure that our financial statements are fairly and accurately presented, that there's no material misstatements, and that there isn't anything misleading to users internally and externally, especially when thinking about the SRF bonds that the Diversion Authority holds. That's who our active users are for these financial statements. Along with the audit scope management, if you could go to the next slide. Management, meaning the authority, has responsibilities that our financial records are accurate, that we have internal controls to ensure that transactions are being processed appropriately, and then also the auditors have a responsibility to test over that. And just thinking of internal controls at the city here, we have procedures that we follow within our finance office, and also the Jacobs team follows procedures specifically in their Aconex workflow system, where all transactions are approved at multiple levels before payments are made. Also thinking of internal control, as you know, with this being a multi-jurisdiction project, we have a lot of reliance on other agencies, counties, state, and other cities. So then just some financial highlights. This is a balance sheet just comparing 2023 to 2022. You'll see that the assets have increased significantly, mainly due to the cash. Right now, when we're doing reimbursements on the SRF loans and through the legacy bonds as authorized by the state, when we incur expense, we get the cash right away and we're not making any debt payments. So the cash reserves are increasing. We're also bringing in the sales tax each month. So going forward, we're really trying to come up with a plan for the milestone payments to be made timely and making sure we have adequate cash on hand to float everything as the payments come in. And as you know, the revenue sources are mainly the state of North Dakota being the legacy draws, followed by the sales tax through the city of Fargo and Cass County, along with higher investment earnings in 2023. Then within the financials, the long-term debt that we currently have, the notes payable is in reference to the SRF loans that's drawn through the state of North Dakota. And just to discuss that process, each month when we are making payments, staff reviews to see what's eligible to draw under the legacy program and what's eligible to draw under the SRF program. And then we determine what funding source we're going to use. The settlement payable is related to the Richland-Wilkin Joint Powers agreement that was approved in 2021. Currently, we're recognizing a $40 million payable that's also accruing interest each year. So that is just the main highlights I wanted to touch on and share with the group. At this point, are there any questions or any comments?
Any questions?
Just more of a comment, Chaired Artist. Just wanted to express appreciation to the City of Fargo for doing this work, and also to the Jacob staff. I know that undergoing an audit, obviously it took several months. So just appreciate the fact that you guys put in that time and effort to make sure that we got a clean audit. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Anyone else? All right, thank you, Mr. Poppins.
Thank you.
This is only an informational report. There's no action on this. Our next meeting is going to be July 24th. Does any member of the Finance Committee have anything that they'd like to bring forward this afternoon on new business? Any staff member have anything that they'd like to bring forward? All right, our next meeting is July 24th. We stand adjourned. Thank you.